Yo, what is going on, everybody? What is happening, everybody? I see five people in here so far. I'm going to try to make this pretty quick tonight. 'Cause I know it's some untracked activity going on right now in NASCAR. Yeah, I know this is pretty early for a stream tonight or right now, but um, I just wanted to get a few more things off my chest about some of the stuff that's come out about the penalties, and they just had the state of the sport address about an hour, like 2 hours ago. Just kind of wanted to go over some of that stuff. This is kind of rare for me to do have two streams in a week, but here we are. But I see Astounded is in the chat. PC Gone Rogue is in here. Hope y'all having a good one. So I guess I get to talking. I have a little bit of baseball going on while I'm talking about this. So yeah, so it's nothing much really to say about the penalties. It was pretty much a slap on the wrist. Um, I feel like that didn't really send a message at all. But NASCAR claimed that they were, the whole state of the sport address stuff in a little bit, but they claimed they was pretty pissed off at the manufacturers, and they talked a big game today in the state of the sport address. But they said they're going to come up with um, they're going to have a rule in place starting next year that if manufacturers try to manipulate the race or manipulate races next year or going forward, they're going to penalize them. And I say that in air quotes because NASCAR, I don't believe that NASCAR is really going to do anything to the OEMs. Um, like I said, they talked a big game today in the state of the sport address, but they're scared of the manufacturers and the TV networks. I don't believe that they're going to really do anything. So, we'll see. And he mentions that it pissed him off when the whole manipulation deal happened, but, you can chalk that up to, the playoffs. So, yeah, I feel like the penalties were just a slap on the wrist at the end of the day. It wasn't really um, anything I don't think it's not gonna prevent the teams from doing this again. I feel like it's gonna happen again in the future. So as long as that everything continues to be in place, I don't see anything happening. Um, I don't see this being stopped. So that's pretty much it on the penalty side. I mean, if you've been living under a rock, they suspended the crew chiefs and the spotters for the 1, 3, and the 23. That's pretty much it. And they fined the drivers some points, and I mean, docked the drivers some points and fined them and all that. So it doesn't really. At the end of the day, the OEMs they got what they wanted, or at least Chevrolet did. So it's just when the penalties came out, I was just kind of sitting there looking like, I think that's a slap on the wrist. I don't think that's harsh enough. I don't have all the answers when it comes to what they should exactly do, but you got to make it hurt. And the only suggestion that I have is that you change this format so that way you won't have these type of situations going on in the future. But after listening to the press conference today, the state of the sport address, they don't plan on doing anything. And I guess I'll go ahead and dive into that. Um, Tyler's in here. What's going on? It's time for a boycott. I haven't watched a race since the spring. Man, I'll talk about viewership in a little while too. for next year, not this year, but for next year. My predictions for how the viewership is gonna go. NASCAR's been around for 20 years. They just keep digging that hole. Yep. And PC saying that nothing much is going on today when it comes to you. So yeah, hopefully everybody having a pretty good day. Um, it's been a I've been having a pretty smooth day so far, but yeah. So the state of the sport address. So um, it's funny because I put out a tweet about a month ago, probably not even a month ago. I think like 4 or 5, like probably like 3 weeks ago, something like that, predicting what the state of the sport address was gonna, how it was gonna go down. And I pretty much said NASCAR's they're gonna talk about potential OEMs coming into the sport, um, the no lawsuit questions, and they keeping the horsepower low to save teams money. We know that's bullshit. And just bullshitting their way throughout the whole press conference, and that pretty much happened today. They said that the format. They said they're not getting rid of the playoffs. They straight up just said it today. And I know a lot of people have told me for years that they're not getting rid of the playoffs, so quit complaining about it. And yeah, part of me still wants the playoffs to be gone, but I'm also being realistic. I want them to just make it more legitimate at the end of the day. So now they did say that they're open to like making some tweaks, but I feel like some like tweaking it is not gonna be enough. I kind of wish they can just kind of overhaul it. And like my idea of a championship, or what they should do is that they should cut it down to 10 drivers. And I know people getting tired of you know people talking about the playoffs, but I mean that's been the topic this week, and the reason we're having this conversation right now is because of what happened last week. So yeah, like 10 drivers. Um, Instead of having 16 drivers, you have 10 drivers that make the postseason, and then those first 7 races, you got 7 races to make it to the final four. And then if NASCAR wants to have their little final four deal, have a 3 race sample size. So race 8, 9, and 10, whoever accumulates the most points after those 3 races is your champion. Have it be a sample size instead of just having it come down to 1 race. So I feel like that's a good compromise, and get rid of winning your end. So no rounds, 10 drivers, um, have 7 races for those 10 drivers to be the top four by race 7, and then those last 3 races, whoever accumulates the most points wins the championship. I feel like that's the best thing they can do, um, because they said I don't think they're going to go back to exactly how the chase format was from '04 to 2013, or just that style in general. But this is kind of like a blend of the chase, what it was like 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and what we currently got now. So, what's up, NASCAR boy? What's up, man? So I think they should end up doing that. I they when they say tweaks, the only thing like when they say tweaks, I feel like that they I think during the off season they're gonna make some type of change, and I think they're gonna make like a top 25 rule. Like you got to be 25th place, you got to be 25th of points, 25th in points or higher to be eligible to qualify for the playoffs. So if you like 28th in points and you win a race, it's not gonna just catapult you into the playoffs. I think that um they might end up doing something like that. So basically the top 30 rule, but I think it'll be top 25. Try to raise that bar just a little bit so that way it could be a little bit tougher. I still feel like it's stupid. I feel like that a win shouldn't just shoot you up into being in the playoffs, but um Nicholas is in the chat. What's up? I'm gonna get to the chats in a minute. I'm just on a tangent right now. um, but yeah, like they don't want to get rid of the playoffs, and the state of the sport address should be a time to where when you should be like trying to be real with your friend with your fans. Like you shouldn't be bullshitting your way throughout the whole press conference. I feel like every time we come away from a state of the sport address, it leaves us it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Like you don't have any hope going into the off season that they're going to make the changes that they need to make. It was a lot of frustration on Twitter earlier. Because Jeff Gluck, everybody was tweeting about like the media was pretty much tweeting about what they were saying, and everything that was coming out was kind of expected. Knowing how, so it didn't surprise me of what they were saying, but it was still frustrating because you had this like at least me speaking for myself, I had this glimmer of hope, like, okay, maybe they'll finally take some accountability and make us feel better and be like, okay, we hear you guys. We're going to make the necessary changes during the off season to make this sport better. We're going to do a better job of officiating. And that's another thing. They addressed the officiating today and they act like that. They said that they don't have an officiating problem when clearly they do. And it's stuff like that that pisses me off to where you don't want to take accountability by sitting there saying that y'all don't have an officiating problem. And this year has been really bad with officiating. Like it's been terrible. Indianapolis, uh, Nashville, Martinsville. I mean, like just Martinsville last week where they went back under green and I mean, they don't see a tire rolling down the racetrack. I mean, the fact that the TV booth is calling out before NASCAR, the fact that the TV booth seen that before NASCAR themselves, it just makes you wonder, like, what the hell is going on up there? Like, how y'all not seeing this before anybody? They have all the resources in front of them to know what's going on around the racetrack. All this data, everything in front of them, and yet you don't see this stuff. You're so late calling it. It's been some more races this year where it's just been some bad officiating and just terrible. So they don't want to take accountability when it comes to that, and you just wonder like. I just wish NASCAR can look at themselves in the mirror during this all season and be like, "Hey, we got to make some changes. Like, we can't sit here and you know act like everything is all good because that's what they do with every state of the sport address every single year. And I'm not sitting here saying that, hey, go ahead and slam your sport. Like say that we're doing a crappy job and